this October.
Hello?
When you bundle Paramount Plus with Showtime, no one will hear you stream.
Don't say that.
Holy headless horsewoman!
I'll be right back!
There's something new out there.
Watch it all here.
This neighborhood is haunted.
Stream Paramount Plus with Showtime. Bundle if you dare.
We are on the grounds just steps outside of the arena for today's Hall Silva open workout. The fight they said Jake Paul would never take. I've already won at everything I've done.
You can like Jake Paul or you cannot like Jake Paul. What you cannot say is he is phoning it in.
There's tremendous pressure on Jake.
Does beating Anderson Silva give you the respect that you deserve?
100%, and I have more than what it takes. I'm trying to get that KO of the year, part 2.
Give it up, everybody. Anderson, the Spider Silva.
I'll tell you what, you don't look 47 years old, Luke Thomas.
No, he doesn't.
Still entertaining the crowd out here. How does this feel to be here?
Nobody in my generation doing something I do right now. I'm so happy to inspire the new generation.
We talk about the Jake Paul effect, bringing new fans to boxing, non-traditional ones. If your fight with Anderson Silva just becomes a war, you okay with that? That's why I rode in on the horse.
This one's different because this is a new opponent, but we're ready to go.
He's going to have to bring a whole lot of stuff to get me to quit.
Reveille, donks.
Look at us now, tip to tip. This is our life. This is our passion. That's the spirit we bring to this show.
I'm Luke Thomas.
I'm Brian Campbell.
This is Morning Kombat.
I gotta tell you, I don't care what anyone says. We need a new intro. We need a new intro. Hey, I got bit by a horse this week. Didn't see that coming. So
You got nibbled on.
You know, nibbled, bit.
Skits and bits, right?
Skits and bits. I told my wife's more of a horse person, so I told her about it, and I was like, what do you think that horse wanted? Did he hate me or did he love me? And she was like, impossible to tell.
That horse was a diabetic.
What the fuck does that mean?
Those that know, they know.
No, I think he liked my smell. Anyway, it's a weird week. I got bit by a horse.
It is a weird week.
Hi, everyone. Let's talk about Jake Paul fighting Anderson Silva in all of its glorious weirdness. My name is Luke Thomas, but let's go down the line of the illustrious guests that we have here. First of all, Deputy Editor, MMA Fighting?
Yes, sir.
Shaun Al-Shatti.
He was until he joined this panel.
I know. I'm going to try my hardest not to get fired here.
Make sure
also, we were all working at MMA Fighting together at one point. Now he is, what's your title at MMA Junkie? Actually, don't even know.
Reporter.
There we go, reporter. Wait, don't say it so sadly.
Yeah, it's not as fancy as Shaun's, but
you do great work
down
in South Florida.
Swiss Army Man, do all kinds of things.
That is exactly correct.
Yeah.
It's my friend and yours. It's Danny Segura. Danny Segura is here, everyone. And then, of course, this piece of shit on the end. Everyone knows him.
Well, first of all, we've never done one of these pregame previews with 4 men before.
Yeah.
So this will be...
We usually do it with Chuck.
You know, blind man and orgy.
We do it with Chuck, with the Iceman.
Gentlemen, we only have one rule, though, with pregame previews. I don't know if you ever heard it. What we expect from you? Real talk. Like men do.
Hey, keep chewing ice on with the microphone, Danny. People will love that.
Yeah, I'll get closer to the mic, too.
That's the only rule, right? This is the inside story of Saturday night's Jake Paul, Anderson Silva, on the horse he rode in with, bitch. Feeling these margaritas, Brian Campbell. Sorry, I got plenty of material. There you go.
Hey, would you say you have 1, 2, or all of the gummies in Arizona in your tummy right now?
I'm drinking this agave seltzer like a real man, okay?
All right. What are you drinking there, Dan Segura?
Tequila and soda, yeah.
Tequila and soda. You're kind of nursing it, if I can be honest with you.
What do you mean?
I mean, you're nursing it.
We're like, we're like at the same level, bro.
We are not at the same level.
Hey, one of us...
That is a pretty negligible...
Look, you notice how one of us overdressed...
That's true.
One of us overdressed disgustingly for this event.
This guy shows up, he was like, I thought this was the funeral for the Queen of England. We're like, no.
Y'all tricked me, man.
It's a stupid
I seen you guys
podcast.
earlier. You guys are all dressed up, suits, everything. So was I. It's like, okay, like I'm coming straight from that. I haven't been to my house. And I come in, and you're looking like.
He's like, let me stop at this wake first, then I have to go to my kids' PTA
It's a home
meeting.
game for you.
I'm certainly taking this off.
Okay,
right
it's
now.
a home game for you.
It is.
Hey, lose the
We
block.
don't get many of those in Phoenix.
Now, don't get us fired when you answer this, but has the town of Phoenix, you can answer honestly, has the town of Phoenix embraced Jake Paul, do you think?
I mean, you saw the turnout, right? Like at the
Yesterday.
open workouts.
Yeah, that was definitely way more than it was in Cleveland. I can tell you that.
Even the press conference, like the press conference like a month ago, it was a really good turnout for it.
I was not here for that. We were the one in L.A. How was the turnout here? Was it good?
It was pretty good.
Yeah.
I think this is certainly like it's a fight town. Anytime the UFC comes, anytime Bellator comes,
Yep.
like it's relatively successful. So I think they will turn out for Jake. We'll see. I mean, you've seen the arena map, so maybe.
Have they had like local advertising on the radio or anything like that?
I'm not gonna lie, I don't listen to local radio, so I'm not sure.
You're like fuck Phoenix radio, right? You're too good for
look,
it.
man, I just had a newborn. I don't drive.
That's
I'm
not.
sitting.
Listen,
No,
as a guy
I'm saying
who
I don't
also-
go anywhere right now. I'm sitting in my
I
house
understand.
and I work.
I understand. As a guy who also had a newborn who also uses that excuse to also be antisocial, I see through your games.
Fair. That is fair.
What do you think, Danny? How do you think the buzz is going?
It looks good. I mean, so far, like, I think this Anderson Silva fight was probably the best possible scenario out of the two other matchups that we had for Jake Paul. So it's looking good. We'll see as the event gets closer, obviously. But so far, like, I feel like it's big. I feel like it feels big. People are interested. I mean, I kind of use always the test to see, like, who reaches out to me, like casuals, like, you know.
The mom test.
Yeah, exactly. I've had tons of people reach out, like, hey, you know, is Anderson Silva fighting Jake Paul? Okay, what's going on here? Like, is he going to get a dub, this and that? And that's when you know. That's when you know, like, people know that this is a big fight.
I got to tell you, I was telling BC this on the way home today, and really you felt it at today's presser, I thought, on top of everything, which is that, you know, like on the question of how interesting is it to watch Jake Paul advance as a boxer. Candidly, for me personally, it's not like the biggest hook on the world. Like, you have to be already kind of be a Jake Paul fan. I'm much older. I'm not in that demo. Like, the notion of him achieving, it's not like unimportant, but it doesn't grab me. I will tell you, though, that him picking a fight with MMA, this presser today was a boxing presser, and all he did today was pick a fight with MMA.
Didn't feel like a boxing presser.
Not even a little bit. It was all about MMA. He's fighting an MMA guy. He just fought another MMA guy, obviously both UFC guys. I will tell you that the idea of him potentially beating Anderson Silva, which kind of sounds fucking crazy when you actually say it out loud, potentially even knocking him out. It sounds fucking crazy when you say it. Dude, if he does that and he already is really desirable. But I want you to imagine a world, if you can creatively, as a YouTube guy, build an audience, get good enough at boxing, where you can thread a very precise needle, where you figure out that the UFC guys are beatable on the right matchups, right? That there's huge money in that, and that if you beat just the right guy, you could get access to their A-list ones. If he can actually pull that off by beating Anderson Silva, boy, I will tell you, that actually is pretty interesting. I will say that. That is completely out of left field, cutting a line through all of combat sports in a way no one saw coming, didn't think possible, utterly ridiculous, and he has to beat Anderson Silva to do it. But would you not agree that as what someone is attempting in this very specific way, I gotta say that is very
genius.
fucking entertaining.
It's genius. Yeah. It's brilliant. And the thing about Anderson, right? Anderson's like a different, like Tyron Woodley is top 5 welterweight of all time. Immense respect for Tyron Woodley. He's not beloved. Ben Askren was never beloved. Anderson Silva is a religion to some people in MMA, right? Like, he is an institution.
A deity, yeah.
He is revered in a way that very few people are. He's on the Mount Rushmore for a lot of people. If you beat Anderson, 47-year-old Anderson, regardless, like, if you beat Anderson in a striking battle, especially if you like Tyron Woodley and you knock him out, I feel like the floodgates are going to open with the way that MMA sort of thinks about Jake Paul and the fighters and how the fighters react to Jake Paul. People will want vengeance, right? Like, at that point, it's...
Well, they will, okay, and this is why that's a realistic ending in this fight, which is why the odds are flipping, and the fallout with that is real. But how do you offset that with the fact that Jake Paul has... It's weird. In one way, he's using the names of aging MMA fighters a little bit smaller than him to gain boxing experience and make pay-per-views that people want. But then on the flip side, he's trying to be Robin Hood. He's trying to literally be the face of an MMA fighters union.
That bet today.
And
that's
also,
genius.
What he's doing with women's boxing, giving platforms to Amanda Serrano, like, you know, signing young fighters like Ashton Silva. He's kind of being agitator and troll and Robin Hood at the same time. So we've, often debated, like, what's his true intention? Either way, is the MMA fan looking to turn on him, or do they look at him as like somebody who sees what's wrong with his level of power and is trying to do something good to fix it? It's weird. He's given these guys better send-offs than the UFC ever did, to be fair, right?
Yeah. No, I feel like the fan base is confused.
That is 100% true.
I feel like the fan base is like very like Jake Paul is a very complex character because, as you mentioned, like there's things to be like you want to root for as a fan, but there's other things like, dude, if he knocks out like Anderson Silva, that has to be like the biggest or one of the biggest heartbreaks in like combat sports. Period.
Oh, there's gonna be fire in the streets.
Oh, people are gonna feel terrible. People are gonna feel like shit.
Worse than Bigfoot sitting on Fedor's chest and turning his face into hamburger. You were there for that.
Way worse.
Yeah,
way worse.
Force tried to make me not there, but
that was a heartbreaker, right? Like I felt gross after watching that. Like I just watched my dad get beat up or something, right? Luke, you would have enjoyed that. Sorry.
It'll be like it'll completely destroy like what Anderson Silva's got going on, because like we know like towards the end like his UFC career kind of felt like sad, to be honest. Like he was getting
depressed. He wasn't. He's the guy who was about joy, right?
Like, and he was just getting finished. He was just getting finished by like top contenders.
You don't get joy getting matched with Brunson and Cannonier in kind of meaningless fights, right? There's no joy there.
Yeah, and he was getting finished by top contenders, and all of a sudden he turns to boxing and he's picking up wins, and it felt so good. I was there in Guadalajara watching the fight against. Dude, I got tons of stories.
So Danny is one of the few guys I know that actually went to Mexico to watch Silva fight Chavez.
So this is an outdoor bullfighting stadium or soccer? Which one was it?
No, it's at the Atlas Stadium, which is a big soccer team in Guadalajara. Guadalajara has two teams, Chivas and Atlas, like Real Madrid and Atletico. And yeah, it was at the Atlas Stadium, and it was outdoors. It rained. I had to put like a plastic over my laptop so it wouldn't get messed up. But like the night was magical. Like watching Julio Cesar Chavez Sr. walk out to like El Rey from Vicente Fernandez just as he had passed away like recently. And yeah, just the whole atmosphere was ridiculous. And watching Anderson Silva get a dub, get a win after just getting his ass kicked towards the end, to be honest, like in his UFC run, he didn't look so great. You saw his corner, man.
No one expected.
And also earlier that night,
in enemy territory.
Earlier that night, a guy from Ecuador was fighting for a title, like a junior. I don't know boxing, but UFO, whatever the hell the title.
I don't know
was.
Boxing either. To be fair, with these titles,
there's so many of them. There's so many of them. But it was an Ecuadorian guy against a Mexican dude, and it was so clear that the Ecuadorian guy had picked up a win. And even the public was turning. They're like, yo, he picked up a win. The judges robbed him. People were going crazy. So when Anderson Silva stepped in, you had to figure, like, dude, he's got to knock out Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. He's got to knock him out. And even then, I think he beat him pretty convincingly, and it was a split decision. So, dude, watching that moment, watching Taro Nogueira lose his mind and Anderson Silva taking a win, just the energy that he had of, I'm back. Or I back. Trust me, I back.
It was cathartic, right?
Dude, it was beautiful to watch.
Did the crowd embrace him by the end? Because that's Chavez Jr. in Mexico. This is like...
Dude, people don't like...
his dad's show,
right?
I know. People don't like Chavez Jr. He got booed on his way out. Because he's been...
Anderson was the crowd favorite?
Yeah, 100%.
That's weird. Because everybody tells me...
100%.
In Mexico?
I would not have thought that.
Well, Luke, every time we talk about Conor on our show, people come back and go, you guys are wrong. Like, people fucking hate Conor in Dublin. Like, people, the regular Irish Joe has turned on Conor. I didn't realize that was fully the case with Chavez Jr. I know in the States he was. Remember that fight against Danny Jacobs in El Paso? People were throwing shit in the ring and stuff like it. No, it was like, he kind of went out on his...
That happens at Chavez Jr. fights and monster truck events.
But you're telling me it was like Rocky IV, right? That the crowd turned.
I mean, who doesn't like Anderson Silva, right? Like, you got to respect what he's done. Even Canelo was there, and he pulled up, and after the fight, he went up to Anderson Silva and like gave him props, and they took pictures, and he... Wow. I don't know what they had to say to each other, but... it's like real recognize real. Like Anderson Silva's a living legend.
Right. So if Jake Paul stretches this fucking guy,
bro,
that's the thing.
It's going to be wailing and gnashing of teeth. I don't know how. Dude, the amount of copium that people in your Twitter mentions are going to be huffing is going to be legendary.
Right. And on the flip side, if he one punches Jake, Twitter's going to break, and it's going to be like that Gungan party at the end of episode 1, Phantom Menace. You know what I mean? They're just like going after it, those Gungans.
I was hoping they'd all drown.
Like, they're an underrated folk, the Gungans, right? Like on the surface, you're like
underrated in
Jar
what
Jar.
way?
Yeah, wild.
Because on the
racist.
surface, you're like fuck Jar Jar. You know, and fuck George Lucas, right? But then you get to know the backstory of these people and their origin and the disrespect that they've faced.
And
in
then
their
you
life.
wish for a
and then
meteor to
they joined
crash.
up with the rebels and really helped turn that war around. You know what I mean?
They got some cool weapons too. It's like purpley, bluish, whatever that color of the balls that they would throw. You know,
The balls. We're already here with the balls.
Sucked.
Hey, now that we've already derailed this, Danny, I got an important question to you because we're all, old,
Go
washed,
for it.
married pieces of shit. Although Sean's he's trying
I'm
hard to
working
stay
on it.
young. He's
I'm
working
working
on
on
it. When you were in the game, Danny, and offline, Luke has talked up your machismo before.
Okay,
He said
all right.
this guy
Oh,
Danny,
where is this going?
I haven't seen his prick, but I'll tell you the guy, whatever. When you hear Ioana Young Jake Check be like, Brett Okamoto, best looking journalist in MMA. When
Dude,
you're
you're the
single and you're
weirdest.
in the game,
Bro.
how much does
Dude,
that eat
let me
at
explain
you,
something
okay?
to you. No one outside of his wife wants to blow Brett Okamoto more than Brian Campbell.
Come on.
I mean,
out of whose wife? You talking about my family here? What are we doing here?
can't wait
You don't like your ex-coworkers?
to service him, huh?
You don't like your ex-coworkers? Is what's going on? Okay. Him and I went through the trenches together. All right.
I don't remind random people like, yo, fucking, be handsome.
Can you let Danny answer the question? It's a fair
sorry.
question.
All right. Dude, I'm kind of like most fighters when they talk about the GOAT, they ask them about the GOAT. I'll let the people decide. You know what I'm saying? Where's my camera? Oh.
Wow, look
here
at
we
this
go.
calling his shot right
Here
now.
we go. Let him know, Segura. Let him
All right.
know.
Oh,
Yeah.
look at that smolder.
Let
Look
the
at that
people-
smolder.
Let the people decide. Maybe give them a little look. Right? Let the people decide. I'm no one to put the rankings judge on looks on MMA media. That's up to
it'd
the
be a
people,
nice
so.
plot twist if Ioana was like, it's actually BC.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just, yeah, wow. All right, we're going to have to edit that part out. That's...
It's live, my man.
Yeah, all right. Wait, we're live?
Why
All
are
right.
you here?
Yeah, I'll just see myself out. I woke up from a nap like 60 seconds before we started.
Yeah, and now you just got to take over the room. Boy, a lot of chit chat back there. The man playing Twitter. What is he doing over there? Playing Twitter. Is he playing Tetris?
He's an editor.
In my 40s, who could tell?
This is a working newsroom here, Luke.
All right, let's get back to the fight. Let's talk about the Anderson Silva side of things. Hold on. In all seriousness, we don't know when he's going to retire. Could be. Well, actually, let's ask this question: if Jake viciously KOs him, does Anderson retire?
No. He has a jiu-jitsu
no.
match in Abu Dhabi next
Oh,
month.
no, I don't mean
They're in
that.
On a
Dubai, in
helipad.
Abu
Come
Dhabi.
on.
Striking sports.
I think that guy's just going to go until he absolutely cannot anymore. Like, he seems like he lives and breathes this to a degree that few people do, right?
Till the wheels fall off?
Yeah.
Well, I think for him,
I would disagree with that because I don't feel like that would be like BJ Penn or like some other fighters that have.
I don't think he'll
continued
reach
too long.
that level. That's a
Yeah, if Anderson Silva is taking L's outside the lava shack, we got
Yeah.
Okay,
That's
well,
not gonna be
that would break our heart. But I seem to think that he's of like the Roy Jones Jr., Jerry Rice ilk, where like they love it so damn much. But with Anderson, I think it's even escalated because he's got that artist side of him. That's like Jerry Garcia. They always said down the stretch before he died in that run in the 90s before his death, that like he didn't even really want to go out on these tours, but he knew the people needed it. It's like I had this gift, I got to share it. That was what kept Roy Jones fighting way too long. And I feel like they're going to have to physically remove Anderson.
I agree.
Like 42-year-old Jerry Rice trying to catch on as like a scout team receiver for the Broncos. Like, yo, give it up. Remember he had that like cornrows and balding at the same time? It was like
Dude, but at the same time, he's looking good, man. Like I feel like he's like kind of hitting
he's rediscovered the joy in a way that's very apparent.
And he's like kind of getting a second win to his career. Like he's looking good out there, like in the boxing ring. He is. So I think he's gonna keep fighting as long as he's feeling good, as long as he's healthy. And you saw at the presser when Jake Paul challenged him to MMA, he's like, MMA, hell no.
I'm done with MMA.
Boxing is a sport that is way better at preserving the body than MMA is. Dude, jiu-jitsu, wrestling, like you talk to any grappler, bro.
Well, unless you take a lot of punishment, because then you can be done by your early to mid 30s. If you take a lot of damage, a lot of sparring, but if you're you've heard it in
the training.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like the MMA fighters who come over to boxing, the first thing they always say is, "Jesus, I feel so much better because I'm not taking so much punishment from everything else from the training side."
Yeah, I talked to Neiman Gracie one time, and he's like, "Yeah, whenever I get like injuries from, I've talked to him many times, but one time he told me that whenever he gets injuries from jiu-jitsu, he just switches to boxing and just hits the bag, whatever, and then his body will like naturally heal because you don't have people yanking on your joints, yanking on your arms and whatnot. And I feel like Anderson Silva, one, he's feeling good, and also like boxing, the way the sport works has given him a second life in the combat sport. So I do feel like he's got some good years left in him. I really do believe
That's
it.
crazy to say.
I think
I
too,
really
like,
do believe it.
I do think he is enjoying the appreciation tour that he is now going on too, because
Right.
he didn't get that in the UFC, right? Like this is one of our all-timers, and he just got kicked out the door, just like everybody else. Hey, go fight Derek Brunson, go fight Uriah Hall, go fight Jared Cannonier. Like none of it made any sense in the moment.
Yep.
They didn't make him fight Sam Alvey, though. I was happy about that.
He's still not in the UFC Hall of Fame. Like he has not gotten at any point the celebration that he deserved to get, and now he is getting it in a different sport on a different circuit, and I think he's really enjoying
I
it.
just hope he has a shame level. Like Floyd's still putting on these, weird fights where
He
he's
keeps
getting
winning,
huge
though.
site fees and he's still in decent enough shape and he can pull it off. And look, that's his life, and that's But like, how far down the road will Silva go? If I'm saying they're gonna have to
I'm
physically
kind of here
remove
for
him,
Anderson doing something like that.
it could get gross, right? It could end up looking a little gross, right? Right now, it's the best of.
Right now it's not gross at all. This is the most. I was saying this, or maybe it was you saying this, like of this kind of thing where it's like YouTube guy fighting some like somewhat compromised former fighter because he is 47. It does count for something. It's like this is what I've seen. This is the best version of it, right? Because
It feels by far the least gross, right?
Dude, are you
Great
guys crazy?
Al-Shatti, like, see it pay-per-view Saturday night. The
but
least
you know what I
gross
mean.
one.
You know what I mean. Like some of these, not on like this particular level of Jake Paul or whatever, but some of these expired MMA fighters continuing to do this far past the expiration date starts to feel really gross.
Yeah,
Chuck
in fact,
Liddell,
it does.
Chuck Liddell, Tito Ortiz, whatever, that type of thing.
It does, but I feel like Anderson's so not that. Like, dude, he completely did a 180 on his like, I guess like perception around the sport. Like, let's not forget, like towards the end of the UFC, like it was getting kind of sad, bro. It was terrible, dude. It was a terrible losing streak. I feel like now he's recovered a lot, and now when he's in a fight, you don't get that gross feeling at all. To be honest, like I'm all for this Jake Paul fight. I saw what he did against Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. I was also in person when he knocked out Tito Ortiz after Tito threw like 6 left hooks.
You were there for that Triller show?
Yeah, I was there.
You've been there,
bro.
You're the most traveled on the weird side of the circuit.
Yeah.
You were like on the ground for
Dude,
Mayweather versus Logan.
Dude, Danny has owned and I mean this sincerely, the post-COVID Florida reorientation
He's
of
made
combat
BKFC
sports.
look the most legit in his coverage of them, right?
Yeah.
Seriously, I mean that as a compliment.
I appreciate that. But look, dude, Anderson, I would disagree. Like Anderson Silva this is not gross at all. This is fun. Like I absolutely love it. Now, if he gets starched on Saturday, then I feel like we'll probably have to reassess. But for now, it just feels like he's cleaning up his career. Like truly, towards the end of the UFC, there was sort of you didn't want to see Anderson Silva fight. People were calling his retirement. Now, I'm excited for him to fight Jake Paul.
Well, you said the word cathartic, and that to me feels like the most of what this little like post-prime, post-retirement
tour?
That it has been incredibly cathartic. Because I mean, all of us, like I came up in the game. Anderson Silva was my favorite fighter as a fan. He was a wizard in there. He was doing things that no one had ever done, and to see the end of the UFC career was very depressing. And now to see, again, him celebrated, him getting these moments, him styling on people again. Like, that's all. I just want to see Anderson style on people again.
Yeah.
And we've been able to get that to some degree.
BC and I have
enjoyable.
talked about this on MK a lot, but now that you guys are here, maybe if you're an MK viewer, you've heard this a lot, but let me just pitch it to you since you guys are new, which is, listen, it's not so easy, actually, if you're the UFC, to say goodbye to your aging legends, because you can do the Jim Miller thing where they can hang on, but they're not in fights with anyone who's got a name. If you put them in a fight with anyone who's got a name, then, in all likelihood, they might hang on or whatever, but it's not fun. They probably are going to lose. And so there's a real question of, like, how, if you're the UFC, do you say goodbye to your aging legends? The answer is not as obvious as you think. So I thought they did a better job with Jose, and people are going to say, that's crazy, they gave him the Merab fight. But after it was, which I didn't like either, but after it was over, they at least had a public acknowledgement about it. And they did on the broadcast too. But it seemed like they were listening to the fans. They wanted more. So let me ask you, what could UFC do to take care of aging legends who are clearly on their way out the door?
Besides healthcare?
No, yeah, there's that. But it's not even that. Like an acknowledgement of everything that they did. It just seems so thin when they go.
No.
How do you fix that?
How do you fix that? I mean, you don't throw them against every young lion coming up in the division just to feed every scrap of their name off, right? Like to scrape off, like, hey, here's a little bit more from this guy, here's a little bit more from this guy, and you're just going to take that name and then go upwards. Like the matchmaking routine that the UFC uses with a lot of these old guys is, I don't know, like I understand it, right? It's the fight game. The young eat the old. Yep. But there are certain people who are above that.
Exactly. Like. Some older or have accomplished enough where they have a regality and a royalty that they're not meant to be.
They don't deserve.
They're only
to be
meant to be
eaten
by a fellow aging legend, which is why even though we got it by accident, Tony Ferguson versus Nate Diaz is
was fantastic, right?
It's amazing. Yeah.
Even I didn't love the Robbie Lawler versus rematch that was Nick Diaz. But that is the best way to look. You're still going to get the nostalgic woohoo from the old guys, and they'll probably be compromised enough where it'll be a sloppy brawl. I mean, everybody kind of wins, right?
But they're on the same level, right?
Instead,
you don't have to feel bad watching it.
But you know what Dana's like? That's a good idea, BC, but I got a way to fix this. Power slap, bitch, right? You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Right?
Big pass on that.
Yeah.
I would say this. There's a big difference. I know retiring a fighter, it gets kind of difficult, but there's a big difference. Like, Jose Aldo previously, before fighting Merab, he had told people kind of like that.
Sorry, you didn't. Just keep going. I'm just swimming over here. It's all right.
There was already like some thought that he was going to retire. For Anderson Silva, he didn't have plans to retire. And Dana White tried to retire him. He said, oh, he's retiring. And Anderson Silva never made it official. So I feel like the people that get the really hard matchups usually are the people that are trying to continue or test free agency, such as Nate Diaz. But if you're already going to retire and you have several fights on your contract, then maybe they'll do a little bit more recognize more of your retirement. So I'll say there's a difference between that. And something that I want to point out, too, with Anderson Silva, he feels happy, and I feel like that's huge. And when an athlete feels happy, they can perform a lot better. We see it all the time in soccer. Luis Suarez, when he was playing for Barcelona, they booted him out terribly. He went to Atletico Madrid and won us a Liga title. So this is what's happening with Anderson Silva. Like, he's just feeling good, and that obviously is reflecting in his performance. He didn't feel appreciated in the UFC, and I feel like that played a big part too.
When Danny switches from the English to the Spanish so seamlessly, I can feel like the numbers going up on the him versus Brett debate right now. It's almost like people watching around the horn, like ding, 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 ding. It's like in real time, the people are met, election season, right? The people are met with a very tough decision right now, and I hope that they would strongly consider Danny right now, okay? And I hope that, your DMs get a boost, get a boost, you know what I mean, from being on this couch. Yeah.
I think it's all dudes watching.
Literally, the MMA demographic is like 99.9.
I am very confident that it's the sausage party. Watching this
I'm probably getting dick pics as we speak.
If you aren't, now you are.
Yeah.
Please
send your dick pics. Send your dick pics to Dan.
No.
Sean, as we record,
actually send it to BC.
Send your dick pics. Well, they already do.
No, they don't.
Is that true?
I don't.
Is that true?
1,000,000,000%.
You say that in a way that makes me feel like it's true.
It happens more often than you might imagine.
Sean,
is this true, BC?
This is not. This is disgusting. I mean, this is just. I mean, you're serious right now, right? I mean, we have an unspoken rule: no stick.
You ever seen that? You ever seen that GIF?
What are you, Brett Favre?
You actually pronounce it GIF. Look at that.
Well, whatever. Where Shaq dunks on that white dude and then like thrusts him and then
Chris Dudley, yeah.
That's right.
And Dudley was not a bitch. He got bitched down, but he threw the ball. He threw it at Shaq's head. That was his only recourse, right? That was the only way to save face, right? Yeah, that's good. It's great. Just keep it going over there. Sean, I wanted to get into a real topic. We are recording this mid-fight week of Silva. It's great. Mid-fight week of Silva Paul. Do you know what I've missed this week? I've missed a little man.
I could have just dunked on you right there.
What? Go ahead.
Do you know what I missed this week? I was ready to do that Shaq on the Dudley.
I threw you the alley-oop, okay? I'll be your Dwayne Shinsis. Just pull that backboard down. But what I was going to say is, we haven't seen trash talking. It's been all respect. You can argue that Jake Paul's not going to get any blood from that stone anyway, so you might as well do this. Maybe that's the best course. Is there any way you can kind of psychoanalyze Jake Paul and argue that maybe it'll happen at the weigh-in on Friday, but there's got to be some type of moment that you flip the switch early enough to let Anderson know, I'm still that young kid who's jacked and just knocked out Tyron Woodley.
So that's interesting you just asked that, because we were talking about that a few hours ago on the MMA Fighting Preview Show. Nice plug.
Oh, no, wow. That's great. Mike Heck on that?
He wasn't on this
Big
one.
Mike Heck fan over
here.
We
like Mike Heck. He's a nice guy.
Mike Heck's the man.
All right.
Heck of a guy, huh?
Is Anderson playing mind games to a certain degree by being so friendly, right? Because he's just been...
Well, it's easy.
He's the granddad this whole week. He's just
he's the elder statesman of the whole affair.
He's just throwing around, hey, young man's type of thing. Yeah. He's being so friendly, and it's a dance, jokes
That's
and
how he
dancing.
starts every answer. It's awesome.
Yeah, wow.
Wow. But it makes you feel good. You're like, you're right. It was a great
feel like it's almost disarming to a certain degree to Jake Paul, where he's so used to the animosity, right? Tyron Woodley, Ben Askren, all these fights, like he makes it.
Yeah, we were in Cleveland when there was a fight in the audience, and I was like, yep, we're here.
But then you see the stare downs. Anderson Silva will turn it on when that moment comes, and I just wonder if there's a little bit of mind games being played by Anderson of just like, no, I'm your friend. So we're all buddies around here.
Would you make that argument then, Danny? Would you make that argument that Jake, maybe he has plans for Friday, but that something's got to turn now?
I mean, I feel like Anderson Silva is the master at flipping that switch. Like, how many times has he been nice to like somebody, and then literally like 2 days later he knocks the fuck out of them? Like that happens all the time. The real question is whether Jake or not can access that switch, right? Because I feel like all his opponents in the past there's always been animosity. This is the first time where there's been like some sort of friendship or real respect. So I have no doubt that Anderson Silva is going to flip that switch, dude. I've seen it multiple times. The guy is a complete professional when he gets in there.
Let me pitch you this, saying that. BC knows this to be true. Seriously. We talk with people in boxing by virtue of the job more than most sort of MMA guys do. Let me explain something to you. They think Jake's going to, and I'm not doing a bit. This sounds like I'm doing a bit because I was just laughing. I'm not doing a bit. They think Jake is going to walk over this guy. They are actually
Which is in play. Let's not act like it's not in play.
Yes, because it's so uncertain, you can't dismiss the idea. But what I mean is, to a man, what you get is an opinion where they're kind of like, ugh, he's fighting a 47-year-old guy. Like, I know he's a legend, but ugh. You get a lot of that. And I'm like, are you not aware of what happened and who this guy is? Either they are or they don't care. Do you find that surprising? What do you make of that? It's very prevalent. Very prevalent.
I don't find that very surprising, right? Because if you're in particular a boxing guy and you see just sort of the outside perspective of like, hey, 47-year-old former UFC champion, I know everybody says he's one of the best ever, but he's 47, he's almost 50. Like, I know how this is going to go. I can sense that. I could understand.
And Tyron didn't look great.
Yeah, and we've seen a history now. Ben, Tyron, like I could see how somebody could reach that, but also I feel like that's missing a level of context of the magic and the wizardry of this one unique particular guy that this is not any other case. This is a very singular thing that Anderson Silva is and exists as, where it's just like if you didn't live through it as an MMA fan or whatever in that time period where he was just the man, he was the greatest combat athlete I'd ever seen in my entire life, like you probably just don't have that particular perspective of just like this is not some normal 47-year-old. This is not just some washed fighter. Like Anderson Silva is still a magician on levels that just most people can't reach.
Yeah, in a brutal sport, he's Michelangelo. He's, I mean, art jokes aside, MK art jokes aside, like there's very few fighters that I consider artists. I mean, he's a fucking artist. I mean, like
he's the preeminent artist. Like he is the singular artist.
It's why the Roy Jones fight was kind of interesting because wouldn't you say Roy is something like the equivalent?
Exactly, which is why Anderson has always worshipped Roy because Roy's just a little bit ahead of Anderson generation-wise, and he did magic in the ring, and it was based on his physical advantages in terms of speed and reaction, or like we've never seen before. But he also had that, I don't want to say understanding for the art, but an obsession with the art that they're willing to put art a little bit higher than winning, meaning they'll never lose a fight, although Anderson did lose to Weidman the first time because he tried to fuck around too much with the art. But they'll never lose a fight for the most part because of the art, but it's just as important for them to make a magic moment than win any other way. And that creates, for the 1%, and I think Roy Jones Jr. and Anderson Silva are in that 1% of the greatest athletes in the combat space we've ever seen, which is the only reason why at 47 you're not instantly dismissing this fight. Yeah, he's fucking not only in this fight, I think the most likely outcome is him by knockout. Like that's actually
he's fucking Anderson Silva.
It's because he's fucking Anderson Silva, and boxing doesn't know that. They don't know that as intimately. They don't.
Yeah.
And I think that's why part of the reason why this seems to be an MMA event, right? Like you look at around, like it's mostly MMA questions, it's mostly MMA discussions, it's a lot of MMA media. Like it feels like an MMA event.
Schmo is here. I like the Schmo.
Yeah.
You know Schmo?
Sure.
He's a good dude.
Yeah.
I like the Schmo.
Sorry, you were going to say, Danny?
Dude, it's fucking Anderson Silva. Like I think that's the best way to put it. Look, there are very few fighters that reach. I'm not just talking about a top 5 contender. I'm not just talking about champions of champions, fighters that actually like reach a level where they can access the matrix in a way. Like if you look at, for example, like Conor McGregor when he fought Eddie Alvarez, dude, he was in the matrix.
He was on fire.
He was so fine.
He was Jeremy Lin against Kobe that night, right? Like he was like.
No, let him speak.
Dude, he was so fine tuned.
His steak right now.
Okay.
You're like the hype man.
Yeah.
So intervene whenever you want. Yeah, exactly. Dude, you can be so fine-tuned. Like, there's certain fighters that get, like, really fine-tuned that they enter the Matrix, and, like, it just almost seems, like, magical, the performance. There's very few fighters that are able to do that. Conor, before, you know, he... Before Conor, you know, started doing other things, there was a point in time, just very briefly, that he was, you know, in that level. Anderson Silva stayed at that level for years. Like, there was fights that you would be like, is he like a wizard? Like, what is happening? Is this even, you know what I'm saying?
Like,
And
it's a Hollywood
exactly,
movie,
and that doesn't go away. And look, he might not be able to access or enter the Matrix nearly as long or access it as fast, but that's still there. That's still there. I saw it against Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. Bro, he put his hands in his back. He went in his corner and he's like, "What's up?" You know what I'm saying?
Doing the Anderson Silva thing.
Yeah, not all fighters can do that. So
let's talk about.
I don't know. I like bowing down to the Anderson Silva mythology. It's
I do
beautiful.
too. I think it's important because every Jake Paul fight is always the Jake Paul story. But the truth of this fight is this is partly the Jake Paul story, absolutely 100%. But it is also the Anderson Silva story, and Anderson Silva has his own trajectory. He is not part of. Well, now I guess now he's part of the Jake Paul story, but not. It's not so clear in a sublimated way. Like it's not so clear that he's playing like a second fiddle to the larger purpose of the Jake Paul experience. Let me have this drink here. Thank you, peasant.
Well,
Get back to economy class.
Oh, award-winning documentarian Jake Von Amsterdam is now the bitch boy for this show.
Thank you, Jake. But I do want to talk about Jake a little bit here, right?
Jake?
Not that one. He's worthless to me. But the other one.
Jeez.
It's a joke. I know. Don't mean it.
It's the way he was raised. You got to understand.
I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they weren't joking. I use it as a joke. But in all seriousness, I want to talk about Jake here. Let's imagine a world, forget about the reaction inside of MMA in terms of their sadness, where it's Sunday morning, you're waking up, you're looking at Instagram, and you're going over the highlights of Jake Paul fucking one-punching Anderson Silva, and your heart is breaking, but now you're thinking, wait a second. What does this actually set up? Because Nate Diaz is here this weekend. George motherfucking St. Pierre.
GSP's in this conversation now.
And if you think GSP is here just to be a fucking great guy who everyone loves, which he is, but that's all he's here for, get the fuck out of here. I don't believe that for a second. He's 1 billion% auditioning for some kind of future. It's not clear what it looks like, but I want to talk to you. Tell me, Danny Segura, start us off here. In a world where Jake Paul has now punched his ticket with this win, the most credible version of the win he could get, what happens after that? Who does he fight? When does it happen? What does it look like?
I mean, that's going to be insane. I feel like the guy is Nate Diaz, right?
Yeah.
And first of all, if that does actually happen, we have to start acknowledging Jake Paul as a little bit more than a YouTube star turned boxer. Like, dude, you got to show some like next level stuff to beat a guy like Anderson Silva, right? So to start it, for starters, all of a sudden you're looking at a guy that's evolving because you need to evolve to beat a guy like that. And I feel like the Nate Diaz fight is the most obvious one. He just became obviously a free agent. He's here for Chris Avila. He's the biggest star in the sport, right? Like,
NDA, baby.
Yeah, next to Conor McGregor. So, dude, that's got to be the fight. I feel like GSP is obviously going to be a huge fight, but Nate Diaz, I feel like it's way of a bigger star. Like, GSP has been out of the game for so long that I feel like OGs, people that have been tuning in like us, will appreciate him. But there's a huge new fan base that is not that aware of GSP. So
also,
I feel like
to butter your bread a little more, if it's Nate, you'd want to get him before he makes his post-UFC debut. If you can be his post-UFC debut, really, the stock is going to be the highest it probably will be during the season for Nate. It would be a massive fight. But if you're GSP, though, and you're that old school, like James Bond, like nice guy gangster underneath, here's the move, though. If Jake knocks out Anderson, you walk into the ring, you be so polite, Bushido, bow down, shake the hand, grab the mic. Hey, not impressed by your performance, bitch. And then kiss Julia Rose with the tongue and then walk out and mic drop. Dude, that's how you build a pay-per-view, right?
Are you walking through your personal fantasy or what
like,
you should do?
If I could be his swag coach, his fire coach, right? You know what I mean? Like, damn.
His swag coach?
Yeah.
Have you looked in the mirror, motherfucker?
It's like a mindset.
You're the swag black hole.
Like, you refuse to anoint me, speaking of Argentina, a South American neighboring country, a true gaucho.
Not neighboring, but okay.
Because the reason...
You're not from Argentina.
No,
BC's only ability to talk about these places is through stereotypes. It's unbelievable.
Danny is Colombian.
Yeah,
Argentina's in South America.
Colombia
They're not
shares
neighbors.
no frontier. No borders with Argentina.
Okay, wow. I get
Colombia, Canada, these are two countries that start with the letter C, and therefore share a bond that just can't be explained by normal words alone.
You're quick to stamp me with the R word. You're very quick to do that. It's like I'm Demi Moore in that movie where she banged, right? And she got that. You know what I'm saying? No, not that one. The other one. The you know.
Where she banged the ghost?
Ghost Dad?
No.
You said no Cosby jokes.
I like how you had to be warned.
Yeah,
Dude, you said no Cosby jokes. Like, what the fuck? I can't joke about Cosby. Where were we with this?
Probably about Jake
I have
Paul.
no
and
idea.
stuff. Yeah, it was good stuff though. Danny knows. See,
Yeah,
Danny
I
knows.
know.
Danny knows.
Oh,
The Nate Diaz fight would be massive at that point. If you're hitting, because if Jake Paul does the most spectacular version of this against Anderson Silva, like
Thanks,
at that
Brian.
point we've reached a zenith between.
Okay, there's
the crossing of the streams between Nate Diaz and Jake Paul.
We're crossing
would
streams
be
now. Four guys in
incredible.
the sausage party. All right, but here's the bigger fight, and I don't like it, but it's not off the table completely. If Jake did knock out Anderson Silva, and it was like this giant viral sensation, which it would be. Mike Tyson. Do you guys have any?
Get the fuck out of here! You keep bringing this up.
I don't want it. But I'm
That would be
asking,
bigger than the Nate Diaz
That's
fight.
the biggest one he can
That's
make,
the
correct?
biggest.
Bigger than McGregor, even?
Oh, maybe.
You
Casual
would pull
interest.
some old heads to come see Tyson.
The casual interest from just randos would be
Okay, but
extraordinary.
explain why you're just so you're so up. Why are you this
Okay, so because that would be a departure from the playbook a little bit. What he's trying to do is use all the MMA guys to graduate to a point, because he even said it to us, and we actually scoffed in his face, and he couldn't believe it. He was like, "No, really? Remember that? I think it was in Tampa." He was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna set up a fight with Canelo." We're like, "Slow down, motherfucker."
Yeah, we did kind of give him like a.
We were like, word, but he reiterated it. But if you think about it, while that is very unlikely, the goal would be to use enough MMA guys to elevate your name, develop your skill set, obviously, because you still have to get licensed to do this and by commission, to the point where then you still wouldn't beat those boxing names, but then they would entertain it. It is through the MMA guys. Dude, he's still got to work his way through several MMA bosses.
Yeah, but here's
he's
why
at
that this is different. Here's why Tyson is different. Because it's like Logan, who stumbled into this idea to fight Floyd Mayweather and then just leaped at it, despite the fact we all thought he was going to get knocked out. You know, and even with the size difference, is I think the Paul brothers look at this as if it's like Evel Knievel jumping over the canyon on a motorbike. They look at these like chances as so ridiculous. I can be in a fight with Anderson Silva. Like, are you kidding me? It's so ridiculous to them that they are willing to push past what is good sense or what is logical or what have you, and they're willing to take these ridiculous swings. That's why, as much as nobody believes Jake should be boxing Canelo, I think to him that's the most outrageous thing he can think of, so he has to go after it. That could lead him to trouble eventually when he meets his, somebody who can get him down. But he may be able to advance farther than we ever imagined because that spirit is so damn bold, right? Like, it goes beyond logic of what is smart, right? I mean, like, him even at this point is pretty ridiculous.
He's fighting Anderson Silva, man.
I mean, it's pretty damn ridiculous, right?
Yeah. But I think the Canelo fight is so it's so far away.
You just wandered like through 8 points. I'm sorry.
I feel like the Canelo fight is like.
I was like OJ in that rental car commercial, just jumping over. It's like, and then he's. I mean, that wasn't the. Yeah, that was the sequel. Yeah, that was like it was like a reality show. Actually, it was like real life. I mean, OJ's the worst. Right? OJ's the worst. Right?
If you interrupt, at what point does it become racist? How often you interrupt him? I can't even tell.
See, quick to stamp me, right? To brand me as a bitch. You know what I mean? I'm not into that.
Okay, so we think Nate Diaz is the like. Hold on a sec. We think Nate Diaz. Are you okay, Danny?
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah.
He's a dog.
Nah, it's all good. I forgive BC. Man.
He knows my true heart, right?
We go way back.
I'm an asshole. He knows that. All right?
He fights Nate Diaz. Does it sell 1 million buys? Does Jake Paul versus Nate Diaz do 1 million buys?
Like Jake Paul, fresh off
stretching Anderson Silva. Does it do 1 million buys?
Probably. The power of Nate Diaz is strong right now, man.
Yeah, it's pretty high.
Yeah.
There were people. Did you guys see him yesterday at the presser? Or no, sorry, the workout. They had the Nick Diaz or Nate Diaz Army flags and shit.
Yeah, would you argue that the Diaz brothers have legitimate like lifestyle fans that aren't even like huge fighting heads? It's just sort of like, I identify with that guy. I am backing him.
Potheads
absolutely
love Nate Diaz, right? Like stoners, basically. Like, who don't even necessarily... There's the stoners who train, like the jiu-jitsu guys.
And then there's the award-winning stoners.
Then there's the award-winning stoners. And then there's just the regular stoners. I feel like all stoners like Nate Diaz.
Dude, I have friends who still will send me, like, interviews when his Conor series was going on of, like, the Money Channel. Like, what is this, the Money Channel? That type. Like, they still watch that stuff all the way, like, how many years ago was that? 5 years ago? And they'll still watch it and send me, like, this is so great. People love Nate Diaz, man. People absolutely love Nate Diaz.
Brian, you having some fun over there, buddy?
Dude, they should have a ticker on the show of how many times he spills his drink on himself.
Do you need an adult?
No, just topping off.
You chaperone there, buddy, huh?
Just, you know, it's fine. It's fine.
When was the last time
I'm like the cowboy in the village.
When was the last time we did the MMA beat together, the three of us? Oh, a while ago, right?
Yeah.
Like 20...
That was
2018, 2019?
The last week of June 2019.
Probably,
right?
2019, I would imagine.
Something like that, yeah.
Because, we were talking about beforehand. I've never been on the MMA with you.
No.
But I was on with you guys.
Sean, we would have made magic together.
Oh, we would have been good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would have been awesome. We were on together. Did you ever do it without me and just with Ariel?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think maybe on the road, like one of the on the road.
Oh,
editions.
right. Because you flew into the studio one time for us, I think, one or two times.
I think it was probably us three, maybe.
I'm not a part of the golden era of this great show, and I have a lot of respect for it. But I'm happy that I had even a morsel on it. But it was often Chuck, you, me, Luke. But we did a 3-piece a bunch of times.
We did.
Yeah,
I think
we did do
fucking
a 3-piece.
awesome.
That's
okay,
right.
Thank you.
That's right. And that was a difficult stage of the show, quite candidly. I feel like we pulled it off best we could, certainly.
I distracted you from the realities of your broken heart and made you feel, all nice and gooey inside.
I was going to say this, too. Going back to, like, crazy, weird fight weeks. Shaun and I, for MMA fighting.
Oh, I know what you're going to say without even saying
We
it.
went to Houston.
My favorite fight week I've ever done.
And we covered Kimbo Slice versus Dada 5000, which, to be very clear, is so, like, whatever you think of this fight, like, biggest critic, I hate Jake Paul, blah, blah, blah. Fine. If you don't like it, you don't like it. I'm not here to talk you into it. It is what it is. This is so much more legitimate than anything related to that.
Is that the saddest fight of all time? I'm being serious. Is that the saddest?
Dude, and the best part was
Liddell Tito 3 is sad as shit.
I actually feel like that's sadder because those were legends. That's a little bit.
And you had De La Hoya involved. That was just weird.
But also we had Ken Shamrock, Hoist Gracie on that too. And,
oh my
and
god! I
Ken
fucking forgot that was on that card.
But I gotta say, my memory of the Kimbo Dada fight, watching that next to you, is one of my favorite in-person covering this exact fight at this exact moment memories ever. You were guffawing during that fight. You were almost heckling them during that fight. It was so hilarious.
I didn't heckle.
Almost. I said almost.
I almost heckled because I couldn't believe what I was looking at. I will say this. By the way, R.I.P. Kimbo, still by far the most popular fighter in Bellator history.
Yeah.
By a
Miami legend.
That's right. Miami legend. But that fight was a disaster, and I'll never forget afterwards looking at you because we had to do the post-fight show, and I was like, dude, what the fuck are we going to say about this fight? You remember that?
About both of these fights because it was
what
back
the
to back.
fuck are we
You
going to
didn't
say?
even know about like the cardiac arrest and how bad it actually was.
No, we didn't have any idea. We knew it was silly. But we didn't know it was, like, serious. But certainly this doesn't border on that. But I will say, we do find ourselves together on the road with, how do we say, unusual arrangements. I think it's a fair way to put this.
That's the best way to be, though, you know?
Yeah.
I enjoy that.
Dude, it's part of the fight game.
Yeah,
it's like you can hate it.
That's
you
why I love Pride.
Right.
Pride was all about
you
this
can
kind of
turn the
stuff.
spigot onto it for however much of the water you want. It's up to you. But it's in the pipeline,
Now,
right?
Danny,
It's
you
there.
can get
Bob
ugly.
Satin Nogueira is like one of the best fights ever, and it's exactly this.
Right, and it can
Fucking
get
Nogueira
ugly.
had a
Look,
major achievement in that
Sometimes
fight.
you get classics, but it can get ugly when you matchmake that way. Do you miss when Bellator used that muscle in their arsenal and were willing to take chances with stuff like Shamrock?
But beyond
Gracie
Kimbo
3.
Dada, what would give you another example?
Shamrock Gracie 3, Shamrock versus Kimbo. That level of matchmaking where it's.
I was at Kimbo. I was at that fight
By the way,
too.
I go on record.
Bellator?
People think
Shamrock
I'm
Kimbo?
crazy.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Shamrock
Yes.
Kimbo was
In
a
St.
weird
Louis,
fight,
Missouri,
but it
yeah.
was fun as shit. It was fun.
Dude, my favorite rapper, Sean Price, was actually tweeting about it. It did 3 million viewers on
yeah.
Spike.
Do you
3
miss
million.
those? Do you miss when Bellator would serve that out there a little more often?
I feel like sometimes it'd be good. It would serve its purpose, but there's definitely like an expiration date, and I feel like a couple of times they probably passed that. Yeah.
All right, let's talk about some of the other fights on this card. Getting back to it, how about Uriah Hall? Uriah Hall taking on Le'Veon Bell. No, I don't. You guys were working yesterday. I don't know if you saw it. It was on social media. We got killed for it a little bit, but it's fucking hilarious if you ask me. So Uriah Hall has to come sit down with us. And the first thing he does, he sits down and he looks at me and BC and he goes, "Oh, these fucking guys." Right? And then he looks at the camera and dude, I wanted to laugh so hard when he did it because I just thought it was fucking hilarious. He looks at the camera. Which camera can I look at? Just put any camera on me. Yeah. He goes, here, I'm going to do Uriah Hall yesterday with me and BC. He's like, yo, I fucking hate these guys. This is all for show. Go ahead. Wow. That's exactly what he did. But here's the best part. He stood there and gave us like a great interview. Yeah. He told us like he was on the verge of like suicide.
Yeah, it got real.
And, like,
it got
depression.
He's been talking about
and
that.
How like you know, and how he wouldn't fight Anderson again because he has too much respect. It was fucking great. Also, it should be noted, not cutting weight, right? He's already, I think it's fair to say, a little cantankerous. Right, Uriah? Love you.
Yo, Uriah, you're salty as shit.
Right, love you.
Now.
You're Captain Grumpy Pants. But what I will say is, what have you guys picked up on this week about his demeanor and like the weirdness? Because he should beat the shit out of Le'Veon Bell, right? Yes. Like, what the fuck is this?
You would think? Did you watch the AP fight?
I did.
It wasn't the finest level of crossover celebrity boxing skills that we've seen at this.
You would assume that someone who is inherently a striker, someone who's been a striker most of their career in the UFC, and I think most knockouts in UFC middleweight history, it's gonna be a rough night for Le'Veon probably.
Okay, well, who has a more uphill climb here? Le'Veon, who has the power and athleticism. He's only 30. We keep forgetting to say that. Le'Veon's only 30, right?
Lord, you're right.
Kind of old for running back, or sometimes ancient for running back, but not for this. He's only 30. This or Dr. Mike against Chris Avila, like this is it's an intriguing matchup. There's a weird storyline that I'm kind of digging, but it's a weird ass fight. Who has the potential to have the worst night at the office?
I think Bell, because like, dude, Uriah Hall is a bad dude, man. He's a bad dude. Chris Avila, obviously a bad dude as well. He's very skilled as well, but like Uriah Hall just reached heights.
He beat Anderson Silva.
Yeah. He's reached heights that Chris Avila hasn't reached, so he's certainly much deeper into the levels of MMA.
Yo, he hates you.
Or just fighting in general.
He hates you too.
Why does he dislike you guys?
No. It's more him than me,
So
actually.
before his last UFC fight, I had a Zoom with him that I set up through the UFC, and it was like when he's laying in his hotel room bed, and he went interview after interview, and we hook up, and he goes, "Oh, not you guys." And I'm like, "What? Wait, what are you talking about?"
This is the second time you
Yes.
Second time.
And he actually was like, gave me a look that was like, I'm thinking about possibly not doing this interview.
Right.
But then he was just sort of like, all right, I just whatever. And I'm like, what do you mean, you guys? And he's like, I hear you guys. You guys talk shit. I hear you guys. And I was like, you mean Luke Thomas? And he was like, I know him. I'm like, yeah, I fucking hate that guy, right? And then, but I couldn't get him to like completely come around with me and just dunk on Luke.
To make you feel better, he just doesn't like media in general.
Yeah.
But maybe he has a special thing for it.
And remember, I showed a picture of Jay Aaron to him and was like, this guy said he once hit a spinning back wheel kick. And
we had a stupid producer on the show who thought he actually handled Uriah.
No, he thought he hit a random spinning back kick to the stomach.
A lot of noise. We need a library.
Luke, it's not my fault that I can pop the crew.
Library-like atmosphere. Okay, Dice Clay, settle down. You're not doing that well.
Hey, lose the bra, all right?
Yeah, okay. I was going to say this for Uriah. Like, let's be clear, he's auditioning for a role as a Jake Paul opponent, right?
You think?
Really?
Do you think he's here just to fight Le'Veon Bell?
I didn't get that sense from him.
Oh, I did. Like, now, here's the thing. Like, let's assume that's in play. Let's assume it's in play. What would he actually have to do to get it? Because if he beats Bell, but it's relatively competitive, it makes for a better fight. But it makes... Well, actually, what does he need to do for Jake Paul to be like, I want to fight him? Because if you're too good, then you're inaccessible. But if you're too shitty, because he's just not like taking it seriously or something, well, that's no good either, because then the fans wouldn't want to see it. You got to drive fan interest.
Would you consider the plan I had for GSP before and just put it on Uriah Hall?
What do you mean?
Grab the microphone, kiss Julia Rose, and lick the tongue. And
I feel like there's more of that at play than the actual performance.
Really?
I don't feel like it's in play at all for him. That's surprising for me to hear you say that.
Because I don't know that for a fact, but I'm just assuming based on the way boxing's promoted, he is not here by accident.
It felt to me like he was here because he liked the idea of doing something like this. It's something different. It was something to get him back.
Yeah, but they
in the
could have
gym.
picked a lot of people.
Well, he told us that he was going to turn it down. He wasn't into it for a while. He was just sort of like, F that. But then he kind of sat down and thought about it.
And then we asked him, like, would you fight Jake Paul? Like, the answer is unequivocally
well, yes, of course he would. To me, it feels like the progression we're seeing with Jake Paul is everything has to be an escalation, right? Ben Askren, escalation. Tyron Woodley, UFC champion, escalation. Anderson Silva, legitimate legend. Like, I don't know that Anderson Silva to Uriah Hall would be an escalation.
But then the question we get then is, if Jake Paul loses, does he no longer fight UFC guys and then go to fight?
I was just thinking about the time that you called Ann Eason Gibb, who Jake Paul knocked out in his debut, a diabetic gas station attendant.
I called him a pre-diabetic gas station attendant.
And he like quote tweeted you and was like incredulous, like what the fuck? You know what I mean?
So I called Ann Eason Gibb, who I literally, like when I say I didn't know who he was, I didn't. Do
you still not know who he was?
Now I do.
I have very little idea who he is.
Okay, but he's very successful and blah blah blah. And I called him a pre-diabetic gas station attendant because I looked at his name like, who the fuck is this idiot? Just nobody. And someone sent the video to him, and he clipped it and then retweeted it and then tagged CBS in it like a fucking trying to cancel culture motherfucker. Got you.
You know that horse.
He tried to
that
cancel
horse
me because
Donald got through to you. I think.
Yeah, well, that fucking Ann Eason Gibb tried to cancel me, motherfucker, for like being like, yo, not
didn't work.
But. Point being is he tried. In fairness, it's a shitty thing to say, but now I mean it. I didn't mean it before. Now I mean it. You know what I'm saying? Where are we going with this?
You sound like Alex Jones right now, to be fair.
Escalation. Yeah, we're talking about this fucking fight. I mean, what else are we... Yo, how many people you think in that slap fighting league are in the league to pay off debt they lost from buying NFTs? A lot, right?
Wow.
A lot,
probably
right?
A percentage, yeah. Let me see.
Dude, that shit is like super awful.
What are the circle graphs where the Venn diagram? The Venn
thing.
diagram between slap fight and
it's
NFT
like, and
is
also
probably
like big into crypto and got all their shit taken. I think the overlap is huge.
There's like a party back there.
Hey, the Showtime producers are drinking. Is that out of sadness or?
They're off the clock.
Is that well? They drink on the clock. I mean, let's just be.
Oh, come on.
What? Who said that? How you doing, PC?
Yeah, I'm doing great. It's a great podcast. It's live, local, late breaking, right?
You know why we're doing this? I figured this out. You know why we're doing this live? Because I see them editing the face-to-faces. There was no way for us to record this and then get them to edit the face-to-faces. So they're making us do it live. So they're making us do it live because they don't. That's why. I got it.
You know, they brought Filthy Phil back. Speaking of the Malka Power Rankings. And I've requested.
Dude,
Filthy
look at Danny's
Phil
face. He could give a fuck
on
less.
every single
I'm trying to figure out who's,
if Filthy Phil was here, you'd know it. You'd fucking know it, okay? You know what I mean? You would just, wow, right? Yeah. All right. So, hey, Shaun, Danny, you can jump in on this topic, too. Hey, guys,
your transitions are
a second robot.
on point.
Okay, the better bet.
He's Peter Griffin. It's just.
The better bet.
Remember that time I used a lawnmower?
All right, Danny, do you have interest in this? Here's what Jake Paul told us yesterday at the open workout. That the better bot, which is now joining the problem bot.
You said me and then Danny.
I had to transition. I have a feeling Danny's. He looks a little salty
good.
right now.
He's locked in.
He looks a little Uriah Hall focused here. But
I'm listening.
Danny, Jake said they're going to fight each other. Do you have any interest in this? Do you have a history with BattleBots starring Kenny Florian?
I do like BattleBots. Yeah, I thought it was a badass show.
Would you be into?
Still on, isn't it?
Would you be into the two robots?
That's cool.
I don't mind some BattleBots.
I'll stand behind BattleBots.
I'll watch some BattleBots.
BattleBots is cool.
It's not as cool as like Double
What
Dare.
I see the wheels working. What's up?
Just
got some problems.
Just three simpletons I'm looking at here.
Dude, before this show started,
high school
you did a 20-minute rant about why Rain Energy Drink is the best drink in the world, and you're calling me a simpleton.
Dude, Rain Energy Drink is chemical enhancement. BattleBots is like, motherfucking
enhancement. BattleBots is very close to 100% or whatever Dan is doing
100%. If you watch,
I'll take BattleBots all day over Power.
100%.
Oh yeah, I mean, listen, if you watch Power Slap League, you just eating beefaroni out of a can unheated.
Can we get a BattleBot that's all about slapping?
You're top ramen. Top ramen.
Dude, BattleBots is badass. I enjoyed it.
Okay, so in fairness, I haven't seen BattleBots in a long
Bro,
time.
BattleBots is cool. It's like
you haven't seen the revive with Kenny.
No,
Kenny does a good job.
First season I saw when he was on the first season I saw, and I was like, all right, it's just a bunch of fucking
what
inanimate objects doing shit that's not that interesting, you know.
You know, I've long made a case that on Seventh Heaven, you could make an argument for Beverly Mitchell over Jessica.
When you say inside voices, I don't think they know what that means.
Yeah,
library-like atmosphere.
That's a good point. Yeah.
I'm like, imagine it's the quiet car.
Shaun, back to you.
Abuse
on these topics here. Look, we are going to see Chris Avila against Dr. Mike. What is your sense of Dr. Mike? Like, donating it to charity, is amazing, and he's kind of.
He's got a big social media following.
He's like, look, he caught the bug, and you know what I mean. He caught the boxing bug, but
smart guy.
But this is a weird matchup in which he should lose. Also, he's like 3 divisions larger than Chris Avila. Right? So how do you put that weird alchemy together and kind of predict what this looks like on Saturday?
I mean, he's much, much larger than Chris, right? We saw the face-off. He is 3 divisions, I think is probably being generous. I gotta say, he had the most articulate and like smart, intelligent, interesting answer in one of our scrums yesterday. My buddy Mark Ramondi from ESPN asked him like, what is his opinion on medicinal marijuana, and he went on a nice rant about like, well, you know, this isn't the proper place nor time to be able to talk about this. There's a lot we don't know.
I asked him about my failing liver, and he gave me like an awesome 3-minute
Yeah,
answer.
man.
Like,
On
just,
triglycerides.
yeah, there you go.
Incredibly articulate fella.
Not yet.
All right.
Yeah, I'm working on it. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you would think he'd lose, right?
I think
I don't know, dude.
Maybe not though. I don't know.
Like, I don't know about Chris Avila. Like, I don't.
Yeah, Chris Avila has an opportunity to not impress us and not throw enough punches and kind of leave the door open, right? He has that opportunity. He can be in there sometimes a little underwhelming where you want him to throw a little bit more. You know what I mean? You want to put that pressure on. Am I wrong here?
I haven't thought too much about the X's and O's
Okay, all right.
of that one. If I could be candid.
Hey, you guys,
Dissected coming through.
Yeah, no, real
Shaun, if
dissected.
Dr. Mike got flatlined, unfortunately, but then was like, I love the sport so much that
Like Johnny Morton, he was like,
yes,
Johnny Morton.
Wow.
That's
Wow.
a good
right, hold on,
callback.
hold on, ready for this? Who knocked him out?
Oh my god.
Oh, that was in that Brock Lesnar K1 show.
Yes, it was.
Oh my
That's
LA
god, I
Coliseum.
know this.
Bernard Aka, who actually is something of a comedian in Japan, even though he's of Ghanaian ancestry.
Was that the same show that
Brock beat Min Soo Kim.
there was the baseball player Jose Canseco? Was that him?
That was not the
no,
same
no,
show.
no.
Against that was in Japan. Hongman Choi.
Hongman
the
Choi
baseball
versus
bat.
Jose Canseco,
So
no.
I was going to ask
Okay.
you that if Dr. Mike says, look, okay, maybe I shouldn't be in the ring, but I love this game so much, I'm going to join the scumbag MMA media, does that automatically put him ahead of Danny and Brett in the Joanna race right now?
Is that what we're calling it? The Joanna race?
The race for Joanna. For her heart. You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
I wanted you to jump out the window.
All right. Shaun, please.
You're throwing this one to me?
yes.
He's a very handsome man, so I would think that...
How many times have these guys like noodled? Like, these guys are like scamming Showtime. Like, how have they not been fired by just drinking on air? I don't know. It's a great question. We have really managed to carve out a safe space for it.
You know, we could have a couple of these conversations offline.
Hey, no, seriously. How are you doing in your?
No, hold on. You need to answer his question. What do you think? The handsome ratings is that?
Ooh.
He's like the sexiest doctor alive or something, right?
2015 though, you know I think
that's an old one.
I think
Been a few years,
he's
yeah.
the love
So
handles
what is he
are a
now?
little-
32.
What are you in your prime, Danny?
I'm 30. I just turned
Oh,
30.
You are
Danny's
younger
in
than
his-
him.
Danny's
You are
in
younger
his
than him.
prime right
Danny's
now.
in his
Yeah,
prime.
Danny's in his
Damn.
prime.
I'd like to think the better
Yo,
days are ahead.
that's
but
effortless facial hair from Danny too. You have to give him that respect. You know what I mean?
You got to enjoy that now. I'm like 33 going on 34, and I feel post-prime hard.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Fuck. I guess you guys will see my demise pretty soon. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, dad life will fuck you up though. That's
dude.
the reason why.
Dad life, bad back, bad knee, like... I'm
Yo, where
ruined
do you
already.
get that bad knee and back from? Are you an athlete underneath there?
I used to be. At some point in my
Remember
life,
when
I
Aaron
was.
Bronsteter was like, yo, in high school, I was like...
Dude, Aaron Bronsteter was like, "Yo, I was a 4-star fucking athlete," and I was like, "Bro, did you go to school with only white kids? Because that doesn't
AB.
count. That doesn't count."
By the way, I love AB, okay?
AB's the man.
No, Aaron Bronsteter
Aaron
Bronsteter is perhaps and I mean this quite genuinely, the sweetest man I've ever met
right,
in my life.
yes,
and he's smart and he's hardworking. But he was like, "Yo, I was like a 4-sport athlete." I'm like, "Dude, I think you went to school with only white kids."
It's Canada. It's Canada.
You know what I'm saying? Like you didn't get the
Different
full,
levels in Canada, right?
Yeah, right. Because that wasn't my experience.
Yo,
at all.
Ariel was calling out the
I was
Canadians today. You know, he was representing that maple leaf today at the press conference, right?
Yeah, he loves Canada, huh?
You know, he does.
Well, he is from Canada, so
It makes sense.
You know,
I mean, the basketball
always
allegiances
knows, he
tend
always
to
knows,
move
right?
a little bit, right? They move when let's be honest about Ariel. When the Raptors were doing well, all of a sudden,
Ariel no longer was a Knicks fan.
he was still a Knicks fan, but he was telling you
It's
about the
hard
Raptors
to be a
experience.
Knicks fan. You can't blame those
No.
guys for jumping on
He's
things.
never left the Knicks. It's not true to say he's ever abandoned them. No. But he definitely was
He
like
should have
rubbing
in the
shoulders
Dolan
with the
era, right?
Raptors a little bit when they
At
were
a certain point, when you lose forever as an Arizona fan, I
Oh, I get
understand
it.
this.
I get
you
it.
got to grasp onto whatever you can get.
Although this is one of the towns that has an NHL team, an NBA
Ostensibly
team,
it has an NHL
NFL team, and a Major League Baseball team. That's pretty good sports.
people
town.
really care
Our
about the
NHL team
Diamondbacks?
plays in like a 1,000-seat arena or something, 2,000 seats.
The Coyotes.
It's rough.
The Coyotes.
The arena that we're going to on Saturday for this fight was supposed
Desert
to...
Diamond Arena.
It was the Coyotes arena. That whole area was built for the Coyotes, and no one supported the Coyotes, and no one cared about the Coyotes. And now the Coyotes play in like the ASU.
Then you know what? This fight,
arena.
this one's for the Coyotes on Saturday.
So the Coyotes are living in a van down by the river.
Yes,
yeah.
very much so.
Yeah.
It's got to be depressing.
Is that like Keith Kachuk and shit? You know,
Dude, those were the days. Keith Kachuk, Jeremy Roenick, Nikolai Habibulin, Temple
Luke hates the
Newman.
NHL because they're mostly white.
No, I love the NHL, dude. The Caps are the best experience.
Yeah, I was
in
gonna
DC.
say that's like all you got is
Caps
Washington.
are the number one. If you ever come to Washington D.C. and you want to go to a sports game, DC United's okay with New Audi Field or whatever. Dude, fuck the Commanders. Don't ever give a dime to those pieces of shit.
Do you call them the Commanders?
No,
Like, when you
they're
refer
red.
to them now in your daily life, like,
I call
what do
them
you-
those motherfuckers most of the
Yeah.
time as I'm referring to them. But I'm being serious. Like the best, and dude, not even like by a little bit, by a mile. The best in-game experience in that city is the Capitals times a billion. It's always sold out virtually every time. It's families. It's rowdy.
Even when
it's-
the Nationals were good?
Even when the Nationals were good, dude, the Capitals have all. Dude, the Capitals. When they won the World Series, that was probably even better than winning the Stanley Cup because they won the Stanley Cup obviously out of town. But like, dude, the Washington D.C. gets busy for the Capitals.
Yo, Luke.
If you Tell me I'm wrong. Hold on. Where's my man? My man. Am I lying at all?
Yo, is
Right.
that Hayden over there?
Hayden, we got another guy on staff from Washington D.C. He can verify any claim I'm making. Have I said anything you would challenge?
All right, but Luke, here's the
Eat
real
shit.
truth serum. If you found out that our great patriarch producer Matt Snyder was actually Daniel Snyder's son this whole time, bitch, would you walk off the show like a real man?
I would knife him like a real man.
Okay.
Respect.
Yeah, I would knife him like a real man. I'd be like, this is for the honor
Yo,
of the team.
I don't think it's out of the question that he could be related. I don't think it's out of the question.
Danny, how are you doing, bro?
Good. I
Dude,
mean,
you're
you
running,
guys are
running South Florida.
right. You guys were talking about like all these sports. I'm here the Hispanic representative, so I'm only into soccer and boxing.
From the
and
Hispanic
so
caucus.
you guys are just running shit.
From the
like-
Hispanic caucus, give us an update. How are things with you?
Good, man. Everything's good. Yeah.
Okay,
What do you want to know?
You have to give us more than that. You're on a podcast.
Sure. Well, I mean, that's such a broad question. Like, yeah, life is great.
Broads, yeah, let's talk
I'm
broads.
here with you
Yeah,
guys
yeah.
on MK. Everything's good.
Now,
I'm
it looks
chilling.
to me like there was a moment in time where like everything was in South Florida.
Oh, yeah,
It does
'cause-
look like it's cooled off a little bit.
Of course, because like all the other states are now like loosening up on COVID restrictions.
Florida was like, yo, fuck COVID.
Yeah, Florida didn't give a fuck. So all the promoters went there to like sell tickets because they couldn't get public in an arena anywhere else. So.
What's up with the Eagle FC? Is that still a thing?
The last event they had, I think, was early summer, and I haven't heard anything back. They were supposed to have an event, and then
We interviewed Chael, and
Yeah.
Chael was like, I think this was like about a month, no, 6
Yes.
weeks ago. And Chael was like to us, he was like, yeah, I think people gonna dial it back. He said it on camera. So
Yeah.
Yo, Danny outside was like, should I wear this DeSantis 2024 sweatshirt on this show? And I was just like, yeah.
Sure.
it's up to you, bro.
Do
It's
your
up to you.
thing, you know what
Yeah.
I mean? Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, this is going nowhere. This is a terrible conversation. Thanks, BC, for bailing us out, buddy.
Yeah, I'll just chill out back here. You know, for all the times that I cut off Chuck Mindenhall on this show, I should just lay out. You know?
What's the best event you've been to since COVID? Would you say it's the Anderson Silva fight?
I mean, that's the one that I enjoyed most personally, just because like Guadalajara's the shit, and I love Mexico.
Guadalajara's cool.
Dude, Guadalajara's the shit.
Rank your favorite Mexican cities.
This is controversial, but I would put Guadalajara or El DF, Mexico City.
What was the second one?
And Mexico City's the shit, too.
Yeah.
But Guadalajara, they say it's the most Mexican city because that's where tequila comes from, and that's
I thought
where
it was
mariachis
Oaxaca.
come from.
That's where Canelo comes from, too.
That's where Canelo comes from as well.
Guadalajara.
Yep,
Yeah.
represent.
But like tequila is the same shit as like champagne for like France. Like it's only made in
Oh, in
the
that
town
region.
Tequila.
Yes.
Yeah, in
Luke,
Jalisco.
Alexa Grasso, too.
Yes, home of Loa Gym.
Dude,
some of the
plug
baddest
your
women.
documentary that you made.
Good
Yeah, so
stuff.
I did.
Yeah, good stuff.
Thank you, appreciate it. Yeah, I did a doc for MMA Junkie called "The Mujeres of Loa Gym," which is like a feature basically on this gym in Guadalajara, which is which stands out for just having like badass female talent. Like all the top Latin American women are training there, and
Irene
it's
trains
crazy.
there?
Yeah, Irene Aldana.
Who's the Colombian?
Alexa
Azul?
Grasso, yeah, Alejandra Lara,
Alejandra Lara.
and the girl that beat Clarissa Shields in MMA trains there as well.
The one,
Abby,
yes,
Abby,
I know she was
yeah.
like a purple belt or something. I remember, yeah. Mhm.
Who among that group do you feel like has the most potential to actually become a UFC champion? Is it Grasso?
They both have it tough because like you're talking about Valentina Shevchenko and Amanda Nunes,
Yeah.
both very very tough tasks. I don't know. That's a tough one. And I actually was asked this recently on my Spanish YouTube channel. She plugged
that shit, player.
Yeah, Hablemos MMA. Check that shit out for like the top Spanish language content in MMA.
Again, my Spanish is limited, but I watch it as much as I can. It's fucking great.
Thank you. I appreciate it. But it's such a difficult question because it's like you're going against either Nunes or Shevchenko. I would slightly say Grasso, because I feel like if Nunes just goes wrestling mode on Irene Aldana, and we saw like Macy Shaun have a lot of success in the wrestling until she got like whatever the hell that was, back-heeled from the bottom. I feel like there's a very, very, very clear path for Amanda Nunes to win. For Alexa, maybe it's a little bit better. But I would say this. Out of both divisions, I think both of them are the most interesting challenges for the champion.
What about you? You doing any traveling this year?
This year, not as much. I mean, we've had the newborn coming, so we've kind of been in like a weird quarantine stage where you can't like.
Since COVID, have you had a show that really stuck out to you?
Since COVID, I mean, not really. I mean, a lot of the stuff I've been to lately has been mostly like Arizona based. I haven't been traveling a bunch since the pandemic.
Did you see yourself in our documentary series?
Yes.
Yes, you did make it.
Yeah, Doc 6.
You did make it.
Young Shaheen had a nice cameo.
They kept in my COVID.
Your COVID joke to my pregnant, very, very pregnant wife at that point.
Well, listen.
Everyone in this room is going to get COVID, and it's like, well, maybe she doesn't.
Maybe I mean, hopefully, obviously, but listen, in MMA circles, is it like, dude? Every time I go to Vegas, I come home with a nasty communicable disease.
Yeah.
Not necessarily COVID. Could be something other disgusting thing.
Chlamydia.
Chlamydia, absolutely.
Yeah.
Ringworm, you name it. I come home with something every fucking time I go there now. It's a disease, fucking feckened with fucking
Yo, is
viruses.
Phoenix just nicer Vegas? Is that what this is?
You think? Nicer Vegas, huh?
Yeah, more morals across the board.
I don't know that Phoenix has a lot of morals.
That's right. They did.
Dude, your homeless are beat up around here.
Look, man, there's some rough spots.
Yeah, I don't know why that's
it's
so
a big,
funny.
big meth area.
Beat up
big
around.
meth area.
If you know, they look like they've been covered in like charcoal or something.
okay, that's you know what? I'll throw a flag on that. That is.
No, I'm saying like I'm not making a claim about their race. I'm making a claim about how they look like they've been sweeping chimneys.
Yeah, they're panhandlers. They're like, come on, no, be nice, okay? You're like they're.
Dude, why are you making me crap on my hometown? What's going on?
I just saw a Showtime producer go, fucking no.
Yeah, that's enough. Was that Daniel Snyder's kid?
Are you actually the kid of Daniel Snyder?
No, I mean it'd be nice for the financial incentive.
Yeah, it would be. You wouldn't be working here, right? You'd be
I'd be out here in a heartbeat.
You're just murdering peasants for fun, you know.
That's the American way,
All right, well, this crashed and burned.
Yo, what'd you guys think of that horse though, the Donald that Jake came in on? What'd you guys think?
I want to shank that motherfucker. Just fucking one in the jugular right there.
I mean, I would at the end. I would eat horse meat of like a champion racehorse. You know what I mean? Like,
would you really?
Would you?
If I had to eat weird animals and they offer me like
I don't know that
Sunday
I'm eating
silence
horse.
or like
I'm not eating horse. Like I'm not eating a dog. I'm not eating a horse. Like
I'm like, yeah, let me get that shit. You know what I mean?
Dude, you know what blows? I always hated was like I went to Spain one time. He hates these stories because he's never been anywhere. But
yeah, here we go. Here's where he became a lifelong Madrid fan in 2 seconds.
Hold on.
Okay, here we go.
Wait, hold on. You called his ass out on.
I did. Yeah.
What was it? Dead Wrong, right?
Yeah.
Yo, you said on that trip that's where you became a Real Madrid fan because it was like Ronaldo and Messi
get him,
era.
Danny. Yeah.
But what was the thing? I'm forgetting now.
It was 2000. No, it was 2009.
All right, I don't know where I was going.
Backseat.
No. Oh, dude, I can't remember off the top of my head, but you fucking dead wrong on him on that because he's like, yo, that's the prime where Messi and Ronaldo were going at it, and that was not true.
No, how about your claim? Let me see if I understand this.
Bro, you're like typical Real Madrid fan.
Hold on, your claim.
I'm on
your own show.
Silence, peasants. If I cheered for the losers of that community, I would also be as salty as you. Number one. Number two.
For, so I know.
The shitty team in Madrid that gets fucking big brothered every fucking time.
Manchester City, basically?
Yeah, a little something like not quite.
That team is corrupt and they just have a bunch of money.
Oh, you think you motherfuckers are the vanguard of fairness or something? The point being is That's one thing. Your other argument is that you think he Wikipedia'd and
Bro, he called you, dude.
Sorry, your argument is that Brian Campbell was the arbiter of soccer truths.
Danny knows.
Bro, you had receipts on him.
No,
bro.
He was trying to.
That cut deep, dude.
What they want to do is they want to police my happiness, and I won't let them. I just won't let you. You cannot police my happiness. I'm allowed to enjoy it on my terms, not yours. You understand that?
Okay, that guy's a hypocrite over there, right?
Where are we going with this? I don't remember. This is a terrible show. Really, we should never do this.
I'm having a good time.
No, it's fine. But how educational it is really a matter of debate.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Shaun, what's it like to grow up in Arizona?
Racist, right? Racist?
Well, I mean, growing up with the name Shaheen Al-Shatti, you certainly get some stuff.
See, you act like I'm out of my mind. Then he's like, yes, that's exactly what it is.
Okay, back to you, Shaun. Isn't Kelvin Gastelum from Arizona?
He is Yuma. Yeah.
Okay,
what is Yuma like?
I've never been to Yuma. Yuma is very, very south of here.
Is it like a border town?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, they made that movie.
It's close to the Mexican
like El Paso
border.
West.
Yeah. What is Phoenix like? In your describe it. Imagine we've never been here.
Phoenix is it's one of the biggest cities in the country, but it doesn't feel like it because it's so spread out, right? Like you've probably experienced this a little bit. There's not a lot of public transit. Everything is very far away from each other.
Yeah.
Like we're like 30, 40 minutes from the arena right now.
Yeah, you guys don't like.
Yeah, that part's not fun.
It's not like Manhattan where everyone builds on top of each other.
It's hilarious.
It's the opposite.
It is hilarious watching everyone come in for fights because I'll be asking around like, oh, where are you staying? And somebody will be like, oh, I'm in Scottsdale. I'm in Phoenix. I'm in downtown Phoenix. And the fight's in Glendale. It's like, y'all don't realize how far away this is.
Yeah, so far.
Yeah, it's stupid tourists.
Every time we get in the car, BC's like, yo, fuck this traffic,
I did.
dude.
I was a little salty today. I think because you know what I mean? Like yesterday, some gave all. We were some of the bitches, right? 3 hours, 2 hours.
You have to finish the quote. Actually, it's backwards. All gave some gave all. I think it's, you can dead wrong me. I think it's an Admiral Nimitz quote.
Any idea what's going on?
I have no idea what the fuck is
Big Admiral Nimitz.
But go ahead, finish it.
Yeah. People
Hey, are you okay over there?
Yeah, I'm just listening. I'm just
By the way, I've had a refill. He's had a refill. You have been nursing that like a
he's
like
putting
an
that through
absolute
college.
whore.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Moss.
Less talky.
Salute.
Yeah.
As I would tell Brian, less talky, more drinky.
I'm trying to be responsible over
This
here.
is my first time in
not to get
Phoenix.
fired.
I like Phoenix. Phoenix is dope.
What do you like about it?
Just like there's a lot of good food. Like Mexican food is
A lot of good
very,
food.
very good
A lot of
here.
good food here.
Fire.
It's awesome.
Bro,
Our Mexicans out of control.
Yeah.
As soon as I got here, I walked into some like Mexican bistro and I had tacos al pastor, and they were playing Selena, and I'm like, dude, this is dope.
Even like our low rent Mexican food.
Yeah,
the dollar tacos.
Yeah,
and stuff,
You're
is
right.
money.
Because I had low rent that first night we got here.
I'll live on low rent tacos.
Yeah.
I've lived right next to a couple places.
Dude,
I'll just go there.
Yeah, Mexican food is like pizza. Even when it's bad, it's good.
And the weather
You gotta
now,
really
I don't
try
know
to
about the
screw up.
summer, but
Right.
the weather now is like awesome.
Oh, it's gorgeous. You got
Yeah.
the perfect.
How
time
long
of year,
does
too.
this last in Phoenix?
So fleeting.
Oh,
It is
yeah?
so fleeting, man. You get the longer our lives go, the less. The more the time window shrinks of it, right? So like when I was
Is
growing
that
up,
poetry he just shared with
Dude,
us?
he's
it was
going
not
deep
very.
right now.
It was not very.
Yo,
It's more
take a sip.
Hallmark than
Yeah.
poetry, you know?
But like when I was younger, we would get maybe like 6 months of real good weather. Now it's like 3.
Ooh, really?
Yeah.
Damn.
So what is January like? Do you guys
January's
have it
nice.
all rain or whatever?
Jan
We'll
6?
get rain, and also like the cool thing about
I'm
Arizona.
asking you about the weather in Phoenix. I mean, this is really the worst, but
The cool thing about Arizona too is like if it's January and you're in Phoenix, you just drive like an hour up north to Flagstaff. Suddenly you're in a different planet. It's snow everywhere, lots of snowboarding, lots of skiing. Like it's just completely
But
different.
why are
world.
the people in Sedona so weird?
Well, it's a lot of retahirees, probably, right? Sedona's nice though. If you like actually explore Sedona,
This is a regional
it's
travel
gorgeous.
podcast now.
It is gorgeous.
fantastic. Yeah.
I'm
dude,
here.
these-
I'm here to
these
rep for
Showtime
Arizona.
producers
Somebody's
are
got to do it.
begging us to like fucking go.
Just end the broadcast. Luke, I think this is one of the better pregame previews we've ever done. Do you want to kind of have the post-fight show now on the air?
All right, let's do this. How about predictions down the line? Main event. Let's go. Call it here.
I wanted to save my prediction for Friday's air, but I'll
All right,
give it
then,
right.
no, that's
I'll
fine.
give it right here.
All right.
Hot and heavy. Y'all think Anderson Silva's going to stop him? Ooh. Not in a one punch, share the meme a million times, but in an accumulation of blows.
Where the ref intervenes.
I think it's going to be an actual fight. And we brought that up with Jake, and he said, I welcome that. That's why I came in on the horse.
So
to
you
the
know,
warrior.
you've never seen either guy have to face the count.
Right. And
two,
by the way,
yeah.
what I mean by
three.
an actual fight is just not a strategic boxing match where everybody makes adjustments. I mean, like, I think they're both going to land bombs. It's going to be a fight. But I think Jake is less proven in the idea of like, would his gas tank go from 60 to 0 like that in a war? We don't know that about him, right? You know what I mean? He had some scary moments against Woodley a bit in that first fight, but he did correct course.
All right.
But
I've been drinking, but I will say this: if the big common denominator between the first and second Woodley fights was that right around round 4, round 5, Jake begins to revert to bad habits, which is common. That's not in any way unusual for a guy who has been.
He's a young boxer, man.
He's a young boxer.
Yeah.
That's what's going to happen. It's like, dude, if Anderson can put him there, that's bad
Jake
news,
doesn't have the
dude.
reps.
That's bad
Jake
news.
does not have the reps.
But I don't know.
You think Anderson still has the killer instinct too?
I don't
Did
know.
you see him versus Tito?
I did.
Dude,
see that.
100%.
Dude, he's out here.
Tito does sort of like wave the
Dude,
traffic on that he's about to
Anderson
run
Silva
into.
has had the positive energy of a minion this week. You know what I mean? Like he's out here just putting his arm around everybody and laughing
did you
and
see
playing
his action
games.
figure collection, Danny?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he's just living the life, right?
Dude, he's just living the life.
He's the man.
Dude, Anderson Silva, but all that is like, it's
almost
pointless
done.
because the dude can
We're almost done.
hit the switch like that, So,
Ask Vitor Belfort.
bro, I'm gonna go knockout.
Ooh.
I'm gonna go knockout, and I disagree with you. I don't think it's gonna be that competitive.
You think Anderson wipes?
I do
You
think so.
he just styles on Jake
Dude,
Paul?
Jake Paul can fight, but Anderson Silva can box. And there's a big difference between the two. Like Jake Paul's a good fighter,
Danny knows,
but Anderson
dude.
Silva's a good boxer, man. Within this realm, right? Dude, I think Jake is gonna be in traps that he's not gonna be even aware of, and he's just gonna realize what happened after the fact. Like Anderson Silva's just that level, dude.
Did you guys realize that Jake Paul is the favorite now?
We do. We saw it today.
I think it may have just actually. I'm not doing a bit.
flipped.
I think it flipped back to Anderson in
Again?
like 3 hours
Hold on.
ago.
You know what? Let me
while
double
we're
check
doing
that.
this?
Yes.
Let me double check that.
I got one of those emails from one of those offshore books that we're not supposed to mention, but yeah, it was one of those.
Wow.
They don't
Because the
want to
line
see
movement on this has been crazy to me because it stars Jake Paul as the giant underdog, and then I looked today and it was like a 2
Well,
to 1.
Jake opened as the favorite, and then Anderson kind of went to like a pretty firm.
Dude, that to me
favorite.
is so ridiculous. Like that's insane.
Dude, Uriah Hall is only a minus 480 favorite.
That's
I
ridiculous
just
as well.
Put your life savings on it.
you just can't believe that.
yo,
You're
Luke,
like, how is that?
Manich has
thanks,
your-
bro.
has your
Thank you,
drink,
Manich.
yeah.
Thank you, peasant. You may now remove yourself from my eyesight line.
Yo, do you think you were saying offline that you thought Manich was in contention for the Malka pound for pound #1 spot, but you were like, I don't want to ruin friendships by revealing that publicly.
Yeah, I'm trying to find where they have. I
Yo,
wasn't
before
listening to what you
he's
said.
trying to leave us.
You
I
are.
think he's trying to leave us. That's what I think.
You are a
Deep
worthless
inside.
human.
One of these days, you're gonna get poisoned.
Probably. I'm sure they've dipped their balls in this already.
Yeah. Hey guys, now if you
But
can
the
let
alcohol
me self-indulge,
kills it, right? Yeah,
self-indulge for
That's
a
how
second.
Taito Ivasa just doesn't die every year.
Yo, wait, let's hear a prediction from Shaun.
Yeah,
I see it the same way as BC, actually. I see late round, like a 7th round type of just accumulation of a beatdown with
Yeah.
Anderson, where it's a
I
standing
think it's gonna be more
TKO.
gassed out than anything. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
But I agree, though. I think it's going to be a competitive fight for a while. Before Anderson's just the experience, man. It's Anderson Silva. He's been doing this forever. Jake Paul's been doing this, 4, 5, 6 times?
So I rewatched, to go on the record here, I rewatched the Silva and Chavez Jr. fight. I wasn't there live, but I rewatched it. And the first 3 rounds were interesting, and actually Silva ate a few big punches from Chavez. First 3 rounds are probably interesting. Maybe Jake takes a couple of them. I think after that, it's anybody's guess. And I think decision Silva. Decision.
Here's what I love about
So all of us picking Anderson.
Yeah, but I don't think he stops him. I actually think it's way more touch and go.
look, nobody actually knows, and it is one of those cool, weird fights where it could go anywhere, right?
It's amazing, of course. Everyone in boxing picks.
But that's what I
That's
was
what
going
I'm
to say.
saying. Are we two inside MMA?
Probably. Yep.
Yeah.
And that may end up happening. Like, one day Anderson's going to get too old, right? It does this young bull, Jake, who we have to give credit in certain areas. His learning curve was quick to pick up the very fundamentals. He seems to be getting better fight by fight. From what we've seen, he's got a little bit of a warrior spirit, although we haven't seen it fully stretched out and tested. But, wherever I was going to get off on the exit.
No,
we can end this here.
Anderson Silva's going to get old, and we've already seen him get old.
There it
That's
is.
the
Thank
thing.
you.
We've already seen that
finished
point.
each other's
and whatever
sentences.
else the rest of this has been feels very miraculous
Shaun,
in a way that has been.
I'll say this:
intriguing, right?
who has Jake
Like,
Paul
how long can
fought?
this last?
Go ahead.
No, Danny.
No, he
yours-
didn't-
it's
Who
up to
has
you.
Jake Paul fought that can put combinations together?
Not the pre-diabetic gas station attendant. I know that.
Dude, Anderson
Flip that
Silva
one
can
up.
box. There's a big difference between going
you're right.
there and trading punch to punch. Dude, this guy can put combinations. This guy can set you up. Like, Tyron Woodley is obviously not going to do that. And all respect to Tyron Woodley, one of the greatest welterweights of all time, but just not
He's not a boxer.
He's not a boxer. Ben Askren, you know, forget about it. And then anybody else after that, like...
How about an actor? Is he an actor?
Who?
Askren?
No.
Woodley?
Woodley. You're like, not a boxer. Okay, how about actor? How about
He's
singer?
in Cobra Kai?
Yeah, he is in Cobra Kai.
He was Coach, what's his name? He was like Coach Odessa or something. Coach Odell, Sensei Odell.
I tried to watch that show and I was just like...
No, you're wrong.
Oh,
you're
are you
wrong.
out on Cobra Kai?
You missed it.
So hold on, let me explain my reasoning. I don't think it's a bad show, but I was like, I just gotta be honest. I find the lives of teens super boring. Like,
that's fair.
No,
that's fair.
I don't give a fuck about your
that's part
stupid
of the
life.
hook. They bring everybody in. They're a lot like Jake Paul. You know what I mean? They just bring in it's a wide net.
Teens drive the market, but they're fucking stupid, and I don't care about them.
So is Middle America sometimes. But, we'll see if the power slap.
You literally were telling me so much about your TikTok account before this. Like,
it's just Venezuelan
Shaun,
strippers,
what's your
really.
favorite MK doc? Of all 7 docs, which one's your favorite?
Probably the 4th.
Yeah, he's right.
All right.
This is where we just light each other's farts on fire.
Yeah, let's just go. All right, before we go, let's plug your work very quickly. Diaz Segura, what should the folks know about?
Yes, find my English language work on MMA Junkie, and then if you want to tune into some Spanish, listen to my, to my Spanish. I know
Sultry
BC likes that. Yeah. Go to Hablemos MMA on YouTube, and I have interviews there with all the top
Could you
Hispanic
say that again
fighters.
for gringos? I want to get the title of that.
What's up?
What is the
title? Say it like a gringo would say.
Sure. So in Spanish would be Hablemos MMA, and in gringo it would be Hablemos MMA.
Oh, that was so good.
No, Danny,
so
good. So you'll appreciate this is a true story.
Does that sound about right?
This is a true story. This happened so frequently I can't even tell you. My wife's last name, her maiden name, is hard to pronounce as Borges, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, but of course easier for you, and it took me a while to even slide into it in the way that. Okay, so when we were dating, we would go to the bars. And every time she would, the bartender, this was back in the day, they'd be like, yo, what's the name on the card? And she'd be like, Borges. And they'd be like, yo, this name's not here. And so she'd have to come to me and be like, yo, can you go tell this motherfucker my card is there? And I would have to go up, and every fucking time I'd have to be like, yeah, Bojorquez, motherfucker. I'd have to gringo fight. He'd be like, oh, it's right here. I found it. Who knew? Happened all the fucking
This
time.
guy's like Rodney Dangerfield at the Holiday Inn right now. I love this shit. It's great.
Fuck you.
Yeah.
I hate you.
That was one of the finer moments.
Let's end
of
it here.
history.
That's Brian Campbell.
Oh, he gets a plug. I don't get. Oh,
yeah, plug your shit.
No, I don't want to plug it now. You're good.
No, I don't want MMA. I don't want anyone MMA fighting to think I'm being biased. Plug your shit.
Just go to MMA Fight. It's the best MMA website in the whole damn world.
It is pretty goddamn good.
People really like that podcast you used to do with Chuck Mindenhall.
Man in the Myth, yeah.
Yeah, but then he became
That
a
was
bitch.
pretty good.
He started working for everybody.
Thanks, pal.
I love you, Chuck.
Dude, can we just say this? The Athletic devastated MMA journalism. Devastated it.
Oh, that's interesting.
They devastated
That's a hot take.
it.
That's a hot take.
You can't just throw that out to me on the way out.
They hired everyone who would do original. They hired everyone who would do original stories and then let them all go. And they haven't been able to find.
Like Order 66?
Yeah, like Yoda.
To be clear, I didn't get let go.
Okay, but by hook or by crook, it ended up that way.
Sure.
And they fucked the whole game up for everybody. They fucked the entire game up for everybody.
I can't disagree.
All right, well the lights are going out. Fuck this.
Yeah, it's time to go.
That's it.
Time to
Brian
go.
Campbell, Diaz Segura, Shaun Al-Shatti, Luke Thomas. We'll see y'all next time. Enjoy the fights. Fuck off.
This October,
Hello?
when you bundle Paramount Plus with Showtime, no one will hear you stream.
Don't say that.
Holy headless horsewoman!
I'll be right back.
There's something new out there.
Watch it all here.
This neighborhood is haunted.
Stream Paramount Plus with Showtime. Bundle if you dare.
We are on the grounds just steps outside of the arena for today's All Silva Open workout. The fight they said Jake Paul would never take. I've already won at everything I've done.
You can like Jake Paul or you cannot like Jake Paul. What you cannot say is he is phoning it in.
There's tremendous pressure on Jake.
Does beating Anderson Silva give you the respect that you deserve?
100%, and I have more than what it takes. I'm trying to get that KO of the year, part 2.
Give it up, everybody. Anderson, the Spider Silva.
I'll tell you what, you don't look 47 years old, Luke Thomas.
No, he doesn't.
Still still entertaining the crowd out here. How does this feel to be here?
Nobody in my generation doing something I do right now. I'm so happy to inspire the new generation.
We talked about the Jake Paul effect, bringing new fans to boxing, non-traditional ones. If your fight with Anderson Silva just becomes a war, you okay with that? That's why I rode in on the horse.
This one's different because this is a new opponent, but we're ready to go.
He's going to have to bring a whole lot of stuff to get me to quit.